Hello, everyone. So, today I'm going to talk about today's Generation Z, Generation Y, Black American women, particularly monoracial Black American women. There is a huge problem that I see in the way that they carry themselves. They seem to be very lost. And I just want to talk about who is to blame for this because a lot of people are looking down their noses at these girls because they carry themselves like whores. And they don't know better. How can they know better when they don't have anybody teaching them right from wrong? So, everyone knows that your first teacher is your mother, especially if she was alive, if there was breath in her body, if you were living with your mother. If she had the means to mentor and teach and protect you, then she should have been your first teacher. So I know that every girl's story is different. Not every girl had a mother, but I'm sure every girl at least had the opportunity to come across a black woman who could be a mother figure to her. Even if she was an auntie, a grandmother, even if she was a cousin, stepmother. So, my question, and I'm not sure if anybody else ever asked themselves this, but who is to blame for today's modern day monoracial American black women who are Generation Y and Generation Z that are in the media, such as Meg the Stallion, Sexy Red, Glorilla, and the many, many black American Generation Z and Y women that we don't know, that, are lost and they carry themselves in a very shameful manner and subject themselves to disrespect and humiliation. I have the answer to this question. The answer is monoracial, foundational black American Generation X women are to blame for today's modern day Generation Z and Generation Y black American women. It seems to me that it's something about this generation of American black women that they just they won't take care of their daughters. They won't look after their daughters. They won't protect them. They don't care about them. Even if they have the means to, they care more about themselves than they care about the well-being of the future generations. Now, I'm not saying all. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule, but I'm saying the majority of American black Generation X women are not looking after the younger generations. And that's why everything is so crazy when we look at today's society. When we look at the media, Generation Z and Generation Y black American women, they just seem to be going crazy because they were neglected by the women who were supposed to be teaching and protecting them. They did not pass down what was given to them as children. Now, there could have been many reasons for this. The women, the mother figures could have died. They could have been hospital bound. They could have been so busy working that they didn't have time to really pay attention to the girls. They could have been held against their will. They could have been in jail. They could have had a case where DCF took those girls away, put them in foster care. There's a lot of different situations for why these girls turn out the way they do. But I've seen too many of these Generation Z girls, and they grew up with their mothers. They had their mothers, they were living in the same home as them, and they still didn't protect them. They allowed them to be this way. And these same women, these days they're on their high horse. They're looking down their noses at the younger generations like, oh, well, I'm not like that. I'm so much better than they are. but they're not helping them. And, I wonder, well, who's going to help them? If you are not trying to help these girls respect themselves, if you're not going to guide them and mentor them, do you think, do you really think anybody else will? Okay, we live in a racist society that seems to really hate black women. It seems like a lot of people, even our own men, they're trying, but even our own men, a lot of them hate us. So who do you really think is going to help these girls if you, their mothers, their aunties, their cousins, their big sisters, won't help them? They're left to figure things out themselves. So to my Generation X FBA women, FBA black women, I blame you. You're the reason for the problems in the black community. Okay, but I feel like people fail to distinguish between the generations. You're on your high horse, you're looking down your nose at them, you're living your best life, you know, and you look great. You look great because when you were a child, you weren't neglected. When you were a child, you had your mother, you had your grandmother, your aunties, or whoever to protect you and raise you, but you didn't pass the torch. And this is the mess that you created because you neglected it. And the only types of women that I really see trying to help these girls are millennial black American women like myself. My heart breaks for these girls because because of the fact that I'm not that much older than these girls. They're not really going to It's not easy to get them to listen to me. They see me as one of them. Like, who are you? Why are you telling me this? They really think they know everything because they're grown now. They're grown and they're out there doing their thing, trying to figure it out, bumping their heads, taking advice from racist white people who tell them to sabotage themselves. They tell them to be obese. They tell them to degrade themselves. They tell them to be sexually free. They tell them to be confused about their gender. They push all this negativity into the black community because they want to see us self-destruct. And without the proper guidance from their elders, they're pretty much left to figure it out themselves. They're over there following the enemy's lead. And I can't blame them. But my heart breaks for them, and I worry for the girls that come after them because they're setting examples for the younger girls who are looking up to them, like the middle school, elementary school girls that look up to Sexy Red. When she shows up at their elementary school, when she shows up at their middle school, and they scream and they're singing her songs, they don't even know. They don't even know what they're saying. But I mean, who's going to tell them? Who's going to look after them? It seems like American Black Generation X women seem to think that if they turn their nose up high enough, people won't know that they're the ones that caused this mess. People won't realize that, oops, they failed as mothers. And that's why they're like this. And instead of cleaning up their mess, they walk away like they didn't do it. It's really shameful. And it's sad that millennials like me and others have to pick up after the mess that Generation X Black American women made. Now the Gen Z and the Gen Y girls, they will jump down my throat if I try to tell them that they're wrong. Like, I've tried, and honestly, it's not something that I can fix by myself. I really feel like that was their mother's job. They're probably more likely to listen to their mothers, aunties, or elders than they are to listen to somebody who's only slightly older than them. But if you are part of the Generation X crowd and you're a black woman, even if you're not American, if you can find it in your heart, if you see a Generation Z or Generation Y black American girl or woman who is lost, if you would please just take her under your wing. Please mentor her. Somebody has to teach her because she's setting an example for the children that come after her. And I can only see this getting worse if something is not done about it, and only we can fix this. We created this and we have to fix it. I thank God for the boomers, for the The baby boomer Black American women, they are really our only hope. They're the only ones that really seem to care, because the Generation Xers, they don't care unless they're not American, or unless they're not foundational Black American. And to the millennial Black American mothers listening, pass the torch. Even if your Generation X mother neglected you, find a way to not do that to your daughters. Find a way to not do that to your nieces, to your cousins, to your granddaughters. Please don't repeat the mistakes of your mothers, because this is the demise of all of us. Like, this is the reason why it seems like we're declining to this day. Why it seems like so many people have put such a stigma on being a Black woman. And a lot of these men, especially men that are not Black, they see little Black girls going through puberty. They don't care that they're children. Okay? They see them as sex objects, because this is what's displayed in the media. And these girls, they didn't do it. They need to be protected. They need to be watched at all times. And if you can't watch them, you need to find somebody who you can trust, who you know for a fact you can trust, who will watch them. Not a man either, and not somebody of another race. Find another Black woman who will watch your little girls. Because I've seen too many tragedies happen to these little girls because their mothers weren't there for them. Their mothers, whether they meant to be there for them but couldn't be, or whether they didn't care to be there for them at all because they were too busy looking for boyfriends. I'm going to dive deeper into this topic in another video, but for now, this is all I've got to say. We need to do better. Generation X, it's not too late. You can still look after these girls. And millennials, don't repeat the mistakes of your mothers. Okay? Take care of your daughters. Take care of your nieces. Take care of any young Black girl that you see that doesn't have somebody watching over her. Mentor her. Teach her right from wrong. Keep her safe. Make sure she's in school. I'm sure I've ruffled some feathers, but this really needed to be said. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video.